and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I call this regular meeting of the Indiana School District School Board to order. ORS 190.630. Our first order of business is to approve the consent agenda. Did everyone have a chance to look at the March regular board meeting minutes, the executive session for March 12th, the special session March 18th, and the executive session on March 18th? Are there any additions, deletions, or comments? If not, I would ask for a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Welcome, guests. Nice to have you all here, and especially when you bring cookies. Thank you very much. We have special guests now. Are you guys ready, or would you like a few more minutes?
We were learning how to use the projector.
We're with you on that. We're going to skip down to, do we have any correspondence?
Yes, I can't see it over the top of my computer screen, but we got some other letters from it looks like the same got letters from us.
Okay.
But there's one for Costa.
Okay, well, that's all right. I'll let the rest of you tell me what it is.
Oh, yeah. That's all right. That's all right. Good tease.
Directions. Some. Okay.
Find those jackals and say nothing, then caboose.
Okay, we will record that we opened those up and yes. Okay. Probably not appropriate.
Probably they got that right, Doc.
Okay, moving on, we'll just put those aside. Michelle Hedrick, cafeteria table discussion and fundraising.
I can speak for her a little bit. She, I think, is not going to come in, at least not yet, because we're going to try to just fit the tables that are needed in the budget and see where we go. Her idea was, can I write grants? Can I set up a fundraising jar at the PTA carnival and some of those things. But the reality is that would be one table a year. We just need to get the tables and have them all match. Correct, ladies?
I we've written a grant, so we're still waiting to hear on that.
Right.
We just finalized that last Saturday.
Oh, you did?
Yep, Carol and I just finalized the grant last Saturday, and so we should, I'm assuming by the end of the school year, we should know whether we got the grant or not. And so then that'll depict whether we need to put the money in the budget or it's going to be funded through grants.
I take it our tables are getting more up.
Yeah, they were used, the majority of them were used when we purchased them.
Could have got from those.
Yeah, and we have purchased 2 new tables that seem to be holding up okay so far. But
We got rid of the ones from Elgin and traded those in from Weston McEwen.
that's right.
So John and I went and got the ones that we have right now from Weston McEwen High School. But that was a while ago.
Yeah, and they were used when we got that, correct, yeah, so.
So maybe it's time to quit nickel diamond and get some good tables.
That's the idea.
But they were better than the ones we originally had.
Yeah.
Those were so dangerous, those
Yeah.
first tables. The tables that they had while I worked here, that we had when I went to school here,
Sure.
those were dangerous.
So LaVon, you helped write on this grant.
I didn't write, I just did the legwork for the bids and stuff.
Well, thank you very much for your time and attention to that.
I'm hoping
Appreciate
we
it.
can get one for a freezer. The walk-in cooler and freezer, I'm hoping we can find a grant. I got the paperwork for it, so.
Okay. Try Wild Horse if you have not.
Yeah, the one we applied for was the Ford Family Foundation.
Okay. Wild Horse does a lot locally as well. All right, well, again, thank you. Thank you for keeping us up to speed on that. Maybe what you know, is Michelle a PTO person or?
She is the dishwasher and a custodian
Okay, so she's,
and a caring citizen.
okay, and wanting to head up that. All right, awesome. We'll hear more about that as the budget approaches, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay, terrific.
Do you need more?
No.
There you go. I wonder if your heart rate high. There should be little lights on there.
We can turn off the lights in here. Would that be helpful?
So that.
It's our first time using the projector.
You're doing great.
Thanks.
Everyone's.
Gotcha. Well, I shared nicely with friends.
James, did you catch the lights? It might help. Nick, can you see the screen? Terrific. Yes, there we go.
I don't know why it's tilted. Okay, we're just gonna roll with the punches.
All right. We'd like to welcome the Union High School FFA chapter. They have a presentation for us. Welcome. We are very excited to have you to hear what you have to present.
I'm Libby Sturm. I'm serving as the president this year.
I'm Julie Jones. I'm serving as our chapter treasurer.
How can you click?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we need to recognize that you are a state officer, right?
Yes.
Oh, very
We'll talk a little bit
exciting.
about state convention.
Yeah, all right.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So first, I just want to say what we strive to be and what our ag program strives to be. And in FFA and in ag education, we use a model called the 3 circle model, and it has 3 different components of what will make a perfect ag program. So the first one is classroom learning, and it's just your basic paper instructional information in the classroom. And then we also have supervised agricultural experience, which is the hands-on part. So some kids raise animals for the local fair, or some kids can use, do the greenhouse as their SAE, just pretty much just hands-on learning, and then our advisor and other mentors will help us with those and teach us how to do those. And then FFA leadership is the last one, and that one is exactly what we're doing now. We go and compete and advocate for agriculture and use our skills that we learned in the classroom and hands-on to compete in those things. And I may be a little bit biased, but I think that Union has one of the best ag ed programs in the district. We just are all a big community, and we just all love each other, and I think that we show this very well. Just because we have had such great instructions and advisors like Patty and like Mrs. Kelly to teach us these things.
Cool.
Our next slide talks a little bit about our leadership involvement over the past year and in the years past. This year, our leadership camp was held up at the Campo Campgrounds from October 12th to the 14th. It's a 3-day, 2-night stay where FFA members who are chapter officers go up and get to learn from the district and state officers about leadership, how to become a better FFA member, and as well as have a bigger impact on their community. Our Year 3 and 4 conference are for high school juniors and seniors. These conferences talk about how to build together as a community and not just be centered in yourself. It teaches you how to reach out and strive to be bigger and better for your community so you can also impact bigger organizations in the future. Similarly, our Year 1 and 2 conference is held for freshmen and sophomores in high school, and they set the building blocks for your Year 3 and 4 conference. They teach you the small foundational parts of what it is to be a community and how to work in an organization.
This is our officer team for this year. I'm serving as president. Jody Baxter is serving as our vice president. She's a junior, so she gets to run again this next year. Same with Camilla. She is serving as our secretary. Keely is also a senior, so she'll be graduating this year, but she's our treasurer. Ava is also a senior, and she is serving as our reporter. And then our sentinel is Elisha Fry, and she's a sophomore, so she gets the 2 years left in the program. And then, of course, Mrs. Jameson is our advisor this year.
So far, over the past year, this doesn't cover every activity that we've done as a chapter, but it gives a good portion of it. We've gone to the Soils judging competition at districts as well as state. We also went to leadership camp, and as a officer team, we got to place first in our rituals. So basically giving our opening ceremonies as a team and how well we were able to present to the state officers as judges. We went to National Convention as a chapter, where we got to go on a lot of good tours and see a lot of how the ag community spans beyond Oregon, and how it's a lot different from Oregon as it is in the Midwest. So some of those pictures are up there at State Convention in the Lucas Oil Stadium, and then down below we're at a tour at the racetrack over there. And then in the bottom, some of our community service projects have included painting the sign that stands out, going out of Union towards LeGrand. We revamped that so it's a little more modern now.
Just to add on that, for National Convention, we were able to recognize one of our alumni of the chapter, and she got to receive the highest degree in FFA, which is huge. It's the American degree. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication to the FFA organization to receive that. So that was really cool. And then we also received National Chapter Award, which just recognizes our chapter as an outstanding chapter on the national level.
To add to that, our alumni also got to go across stage. They were recognized as one of the top 3, I believe, alumni in the nation for the amount of support and time that they give and how much they grow our students within community school. So that was very, very big as well.
And then some of our successes is we just had our alumni dinner and auction. This is a really great way to raise funds for our alumni who are so supportive and involved in our chapter. We're lucky to have an alumni that does that because some chapters don't get that opportunity. They provide scholarships and help for underprivileged students that want to go on different trips and get those experiences but may not have the resources to do so. So that raised a lot of funds for us, for the alumni so that they can continue that success. Our proficiencies, Keely will explain what those are because I've never done one, but we had some really big successes in those too.
Our proficiencies is basically putting together a portfolio and choosing one category, or like Joy did too, and some people do more, of a project that you have put a lot of time, gotten a lot of money out of, or maybe not money, but a lot of time and resources into. You put together a portfolio full of your hours, your dedication, what your purpose was in that, and how you plan to expand that in the future. And so Joy was able to win both fruit production and vegetable production and competed in those at districts. And I competed in equine entrepreneurship at districts and at the state level.
And she won state, by the way, and she won state last year as well. Yes, she's very good.
Our state degrees are the highest degree that you can get within our state organization. And this is open to juniors and up if you have a certain qualification. They just changed those qualifications this last year, but you have to have 500 hours of being involved in FFA, and then you have to have so many community service hours and different activities to put in there to receive this. So Larry McKay, Gabe McKay, Camilla Blackburn, Jody Baxter, Joy Platts, and Kimber Ricker all received those this year. So 6 students going to state to receive their degrees is huge for us, and we're just really proud of them for putting in all of that work. Extemporaneous speaking, me and Keely both competed in that, and you have to prepare and research 30 topics in the weeks leading up to the competition, and you take those to districts, and you have 30 minutes to research that one topic that you drew out of a hat, and you have to look in your book and reminder of what you've researched and create a 3-minute speech on this topic, and it's basically an impromptu speech. You don't get note cards or anything in the room, so you just have to kind of go on the fly. And I received third place, and Keely received first place, which she got to go to state in extemporaneous, which is really awesome. And then I was able to have the opportunity to be a state officer candidate. This means that I will represent all of the 15,000 students in the state and be able to advocate for agriculture and travel around to all the different classrooms and give workshops and just really promote youth ag.
So Livy's about to be very busy, and we'll get to see her in our classroom. She is different in college for a year, and every single day, starting in September until February, she'll be in a different classroom every day, teaching lessons all day long. So she's about to put her teacher hat on. Yeah. All right. I guess we kind of just went through that, so we'll just go.
These are some of our upcoming events for our chapter. One of our big fundraisers is our Mother's Day plant sale. Students in the animal plant science class and other classes have worked really hard at growing plants in the greenhouse this year. I would know, I've watered it a few times, and there are tons of them out there. Everywhere you look, there's another one. So it's a huge fundraiser for our chapter to be able to go on trips and fund a lot of our activities that we do to learn about agriculture. And our last one for the year will be our chapter banquet, at least for us retiring officers. It's really sad, it'll be in May. Basically, we get to go and give awards to all of the students who have put in time and effort into our chapter, and be able to recognize some of our alumni and outstanding members in our community who have been able to support us over this past year and in years past, because there are a lot of recurring supporters in our community, fortunately for us.
And then our last slide is our floriculture slide. There is one student in our floriculture class, and she is amazing at what she does. I do not know how she picked up on this so extremely fast. But a few of her projects are that one over there is our Christmas program. We made centerpieces for the pianos for our Christmas program at the gym, which is really cool. That one was for a house showing of one of our local community members. And then we did a Valentine's Day flower sale. And she, as you can see, does a fabulous job, but this doesn't even show you as much as she's doing. Currently, she's really busy trying to make all of our prom corsages, bouquets, and bouquets. She is absolutely amazing. I hope she continues to do it. She's really good. But yeah.
Our Valentine's Day sale, Mindy, you can correct me, I think we did like $500 worth of discounts or something like that. She was very busy. Michelle here at school comes in and helps her, and Michelle told me one day, she goes, I'm just so impressed by her. I show her once, and then the next arrangement she makes is always better than mine. So she's just very, very good. Yeah.
That's it.
There you go.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm assuming that you send invitations to board members, but if you haven't been, it's impressive. It's so well done.
And the food is really good.
Yes. Thank you.
We hope to see you guys there.
Thank you very much. Very informative. We appreciate you coming by and spending the time to give us the information.
Thank you.
All right. I believe it's the Joe and James show.
Okay. All right, well, we've got our, we're going for spring, and I am happy to say there just really isn't that much to report. It's all good. So, yeah, things are going well for all of our sports. You can read each of these. We're having some great success in all of our spring sports. Really proud of all these kids for coming out. I have really grown to appreciate and love all the opportunities that we offer kids. And that's all of our programs, from FFA to clubs and athletics. It's really great to see how the kids come out for golf. You know, that's really exciting to see kids say, hey, I'm going to give this thing a try. You know, and I haven't been around here very long. So, yeah, it's just really exciting to see these kids come out and try something new and be excited about it, and maybe find something that they really enjoy. So, really proud of all of our athletes, really grateful for the good work our coaches are doing with these kids.
Yes.
Any questions about spring athletics? This one?
Looks like we've got great numbers out for everything. That's awesome. Nice work.
Oh, I should just mention, we do just have the one home track event, and that is coming up this Friday and Saturday. Friday is junior high. Saturday is high school, and so just want to make a specific reminder. Most of the other things you find on OSA for softball and baseball, track just has more home events. So you can find our stuff down here for those kids this Saturday.
Terrific.
And, softball right now is playing ranked number 10 in the state, and baseball's at 1.
Wow.
So it's a little early in the season, but baseball is at number 9, and the 2 games we jumped to number 2. So we can do a lot of shifting pretty easy at this point. But the results are all right now.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, great numbers. All right, any questions? All right, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Maybe just one, how's the softball field doing? We're playing on it, we're cool.
Yep.
Maxing on it, playing on it.
I was just down there talking to Paul and everything looks great.
Good.
Stands look fabulous.
Yeah.
Both baseball and softball. So, nice. Very nice. Anything else? All right, again, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you being here. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. Carter.
So I passed out my board report. It looks like this should have been in front of you. And so, do you need another copy, Mark?
Yeah, it's here someplace.
Here, sorry, I got it. So the first thing I would like to point out is that top number. We are down 9 students from this time last year, just in the high school 712. And one of the things I track on the board in my office are the kids that we've denied inter-district agreements to, the kids that basically have left because we've forced them out. And we had a kid go to the Oregon Youth Challenge. We had multiple inter-district agreements that we revoked. We had multiple students switch from on-site to online because they were not meeting the attendance requirements that we're asking. And so that's why we lost 8 kids. But it's tough. That's our funding. But then you look at the kids we do have, we only have 1 kid on the eligibility list because so you can see what we're doing is tough, it's hard, but I think it's paying off with a good group of kids that we have in high school right now. And like these guys said, spring sports, it's a great way to just get outside and see kids in an environment that they like. Crystal Apple Awards is coming up Monday. We'll have 1 classified and 1 certified employee, or Monday, May 5th, excuse me. Recognized for their exceptional service. We had a couple of suspensions out of school for vaping. We had a couple of in-school suspensions, 1 for attendance and 1 for behavior. We had some after-school attendance detentions issued. And then we had some kids on April Fool's Day, tried to do an April Fool's joke, and they didn't really check their audience before they did the April Fool's joke. So they served some lunch detentions for that. Like I said before, we have 1 student on the eligibility report, and I don't know if you've been on the board very long. Do you remember when we were talking when there were 60 kids on that report? Graduation, we moved it to 1 p.m. I will come to you next month to see who wants to participate and hand out diplomas. Oh, who would like to do that? Mark, you would like to hand out diplomas? Okay, Mark and Deb, and so thank you for taking that note down. So that's graduation, and the change on that is 1 p.m. Normally it's 10 a.m. Graduation this year we changed to 1 p.m. because we felt like we were going to have quite a number of track athletes qualify for state. And conferences are complete, and the format is the same for next year. that should be, the fall conferences are very busy, spring conferences are not as busy. But we still have the opportunity to get kids in and get parents in. And of the conferences that I did attend, it was very positive. And it was good for parents to get the other side of the story. Master schedules. So I have, okay, I'm not letting this out, okay? If you've worked in a high school. So this is a very tentative draft. I have not vetted it with my staff yet. And so nothing is final until we get into a staff meeting and we really hash it out. And everybody looks at this through a different lens. And so I need all of those different players to look at it through the lens to make sure we're meeting all the things that we need to do. What we really tried to do this year was we tried to expand, like what ways can we expand and make more electives and things like that. Well, you got to start with the mandatory requirements. And the one thing that we try to do is we're adding a science social studies teacher. So 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, all of the science and social studies classes are split, like our math and English classes. And the upper ones, we didn't focus on splitting those because kids seem to find their way, as when they're sophomores, juniors, and seniors. It's okay to have, probably 25 to 30 sophomores, juniors, or seniors in a class. It's different when you're talking about 7th graders and you have 40 of them. That's not a very good recipe for success. So that's in the works. I'm hopeful that I get it vetted, I get everything done, and get all those different people to look at it, and we move forward. But there's not a lot, we don't have a lot of chess pieces. We have the minimum amount of chess pieces to get the requirements done as well. So kind of a bummer, but moving on. Outdoor school. I applied for that grant, I don't know how many years ago now, and I've always done the paperwork. And so this is just something I report to the board. The 12th, 13th, and 14th are at Camp Elkanah. It's been a great experience at Camp Elkanah. It has, when I was doing it and organizing all the food and all the activities, and my wife was cooking everything, it was quite the, and we're going all the way over to Buck Creek on the Umatilla side. So this is much more convenient, and the kids don't have to be on the bus for 3 hours to get there and back. So that's outdoor school. State testing right around the corner. Historically, we have a lot of people opt out. One of the things we're talking about doing with state testing this year is the kids that opt out, we're going to ask them to complete some assignments for us that are related. So like the English, you're going to write a 5-paragraph essay if you opt out, and then we'll score your essay. So instead of opting out and then the kids that are taking it are watching somebody play a video game right next to them, and this really, that's Chris's baby, and I think it's more apparent at the elementary school that it becomes more of a distraction than at the high school. But that's right around the corner. Negotiations. So I've been approached by both unions about when would you guys like to start negotiations. Typically that's a May thing. Do you guys have a date that you would like to have the initial meeting for negotiations? And typically we meet with one union and then finalize that and then meet with the other union. And so it's like a 5 o'clock and a 6 o'clock.
Mark, isn't that your?
I would like to meet as early in May as we can.
Okay, so
Get started.
let me grab a calendar here real quick. I'll just log out some dates. So our board meeting is May 14th, I believe. That's the second Wednesday.
And the budget committee meeting is May 13th.
So maybe we could do May 6th or 7th?
Yes.
Okay, is there a date, one of those that works better for you, Jocelyn, or not?
I think I should be here the 5th and the 6th.
Okay, so let's go for the 6th. And then I think and Joe or Levon, correct me if I'm wrong here, we typically met with one of you guys at like 5 o'clock and then the other one at 6. Is that? it's been a couple years, so I don't quite, but
Yeah, it's usually, the first one's back to back pretty much.
yeah, and so, so 5 o'clock, does either of you guys want 5 o'clock versus 6 o'clock? Okay, so we're gonna meet 5 o'clock with classified and then 6 o'clock certified, and that's gonna be May 6th, correct? Okay. Okay, perfect. And then the final thing is, we have been pushing so hard at the high school with attendance. We have been pushing hard, and so, I gotta use the thing that Oliver said in your classroom today, James. Remember what Oliver said in your classroom when I came in?
Yeah.
So we've been pushing attendance pretty hard. And so James had been absent the last couple of days, and I was dealing with an issue that I needed him to come into the office after class. And so I said, hey, James, I went into the classroom, hey, James, would you come into my office when you get done here? No hurry, you know, that kind of thing. And Oliver says, oh, he's in trouble. I said, no, he just hasn't been here for the last couple of days, and I need to talk to him. And because we were out of town, and anyways, and Oliver goes, yeah, attendance matters. It starts with the staff. And so it was great. It was great fun. Everybody was laughing. I needed that. In that moment, I needed to laugh. And so what I'm saying is that we've been pushing attendance, and we've been pushing it hard. And Rondi is doing a great job pushing that and rewarding kids for having good attendance. And so that was a light way to kind of, you know, talk about it. The messaging is working. And so that's all the stuff that I got going in the high school right now.
Questions for Carter? Did you do the forecasting differently for your, that's later?
So because with the master schedule, we basically gave kids like a wish list, like what classes would you like to take if they were possible. And so then we collected all that data, and then we tried to squeeze what they wanted into this master schedule. And it really, what I found out is that I don't have enough chess pieces. And so like when I talk about we've exited 8 kids from the high school this year, if you equate one kid equals $10,000, that's $80,000 that we don't have, that would almost pay for a teacher that we could add to the high school for more electives. So you can see where like it's a double-edged sword, but those kids are not good influences on the kids that we have walking away, and you know, that kind of thing. So I want to build the high school, but we want to build it, you know, with great kids and, you know, great programs. And so my hope is that by the May meeting, we will have forecasted with kids. I will have a master schedule produced that we can see how many kids are in each class.
But out of that process, you do have a wish list.
Yep.
So if we were to grow.
So for example, like rock climbing. Rock climbing was a big one that a lot of kids said they would love to do that. And we have this rock wall. And so, you know, one of the things is does that mean we need to train Marco Bertano and give him an elective that is rock climbing and those kinds of things. So that's where that's going. So it's not done, it's not finalized, there's still a lot of work to be done. My hope is by the May meeting, I'll have it vetted, and then we'll have forecast done, and then we'll see how many kids are in each class.
Awesome. Any other questions? All right, Mindy, you're up.
Found your letter in my pile.
Oh.
And I also, we were given this booklet to use around to the board members, so it was dropped off by the gentleman who usually has science and climate information, and I've forgotten his name. I should know it. Thank you. I'll pass that around. The checklisting is now going around, as well as the consolidated board report. The budget committee members, just a reminder that we still really do need one more. We do have one that we can appoint tonight if you choose to. She is unable to attend tonight's meeting. She was willing to. She just had a prior commitment prior to being essentially nagged into doing it. But we do have one more position that we really would like to fill. So there's that. General reminder for board members to please do the public meeting webinar on the OSBA website and to do the Government Ethics Commission. Remember, it's called the FEI for filers information, and it's where you would declare if you have some sort of a business that would gain by your being on the board. It's not as terrifying as it sounds. I think all of you have those. If you would like that link again, we'll be getting email reminders from the Government Ethics Commission to do that. But it just opened the 1st of March, and I believe it's the middle of April or end of April actually when it closes. If you need that, give me a call and I'll find the website and send it to you.
Or if you want to do an on-site one, let me know and I can get you the contact information. The ESD is going to host an on-site.
That's for the training.
The training,
Government
yes.
ethics one, you'll have to do online, but and yours is complete, Mark. You're welcome.
I get it.
I would help you too.
I get it.
Good. Okay. That is
So
all I
it's
have.
one, you're gonna have the webinar, there's an in-person one?
There is.
There isn't, the ESD is going to host an in-person one, and if you're interested in that, I think it's a 3-hour training. You're welcome, contact me and I'll get you the flyer
And I think it's the 30th,
of
and
April.
they're serving dinner. It's just at the ESD.
There's an option to do that online,
Yes,
Yes.
same day, or what?
Anytime.
Anytime.
Oh, anytime.
Yeah.
That would
On
count as
demand.
a board training.
yes,
Is it 3 hours on?
No, they're bringing the OSBA people in.
No, I meant.
the online,
Online.
yeah.
3 hours online.
Yeah.
Mine it didn't take that long. I want to say it was 2 hours or maybe just shy of 2 hours.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I start, have my dog wash it and pull it out?
We are being just.
Any questions? Filling it in.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions on that? Does everybody know how to find that? Or if you don't know how to find it, I'd say check with Mindy and she'll hook you up with it. Actually, the one that I did, the do's and don'ts or whatever, the online one, it really wasn't too painful. It actually had some
It has
stuff.
some good stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. There were some places that kind of apply to some of the stuff we've worked through.
Yes.
Chris?
Okay, so in the elementary, you can see that our attendance has maintained that 211 mark. K6, which matches up with this time last year as well, interestingly enough. We've had a little bit of movement with some kids coming, but we've lost some kids, and so we are maintaining. There is our kind of lineup as far as our big ticket items that are coming up in the elementary. We just finished up our annual Lions Vision screening. We go back and forth between primary and secondary, going to the safety fair that's hosted by the Union County Coalition of Safe something. So they focus on safety. And so this year our primary kids will head to that next week. And that kind of focuses on electricity, down power lines, ATVs, and bicycles is kind of the example there. Then later in the week, we will have our annual Easter egg hunt that is sponsored by the Lions Club. And that will be that Thursday afternoon, tea party. And then I meant to have that April 21st drop down there as well. But that 3-6 state test kickoff is April 21st. So that is when we will officially start our state testing. And what we have decided at the elementary this year for those 3rd through 6th grade students is that if a student does choose to opt out, our teachers are creating a similar test for them to take. And so we are choosing to start with the English language arts performance task. And so teachers are creating a performance task that's very similar, that everybody's going to be involved. And so it really is kind of a kickoff date for us, and it's going to be better for classroom management. And then we also gain some information from that that's actually more useful for us.
Sure.
So that is getting ready to start, and that is a push for teachers. Once a kid starts that, the clock's ticking and it has to be completed. And then our PTA carnival will be at the end of the month. We are hosting a family literacy night to kind of match up with our literacy grant that we have talked about. So all the work we've done, we're going to celebrate with that literacy night, May 7th. And then that day, our 6th graders are going to EOU for a campus tour, outdoor school, which we already talked about. And then our big thing is in the elementary is we are finishing up this school year is talking about next year. So we're 30 days away from school being over. And the big thing is that we've never really created a Union Elementary reading, language arts, math teaching philosophy. So this is the way that we teach those things. And so my staff is kind of diving into that and trying to create an updated philosophy. And for an example would be like we teach whole group together without any support, it's just the teachers and the students. But then we get support with aides when we break into groups. And so we're really teaching math and writing and reading 2 times a day with support on 1 with the teachers there. And so trying to get on the same page as far as how we do that across our grade levels, which has meaning because that creates the schedule that we use our aides, and we employ about 11 aides that do different things for our district. And then it creates discussion for adopting curriculum to support that philosophy. And then finally, we're getting ready to adopt science in 26, 27, and it sets those things up. So that's kind of what the teachers and I are talking about at our level.
Very nice. Love the work sample idea at both levels.
Yeah.
Great use of time, and will give you good information. Anybody else?
Last month you mentioned like an opportunity for us to come in and read books to the kids. Is that literacy night? Or
That was the Read Across America Dr. Seuss Day. That opportunity is coming. But we would love to have you on a non-American reading day. And so if you would like to do that, I can make that happen.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's what we'll do.
All right, so we need to get him a class that he can go read to.
Can do that.
And actually, I love doing that too, so,
And next year, I mean, I can be a little bit better about getting that on the calendar a little earlier to have people come in and do that.
Get us signed up,
Yep.
make us work.
Okay.
All right, anything else for Chris? All right, we are down to some action items. We need to hire a high school head football coach. James, I'm guessing you have information on that?
Yes, we recommended the committee, we had an interview committee that's interviewed 2 applicants. The applicants did a good job. The committee chose Travis Miller, who's been a volunteer assistant coach for us for the past couple of years and worked with our junior high program as well before that. So that was a unanimous recommendation of the committee.
I will say highly qualified. I sat in on those interviews. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we hire Travis.
Second.
I'll say.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The budget calendar, Mindy has provided that for us. I would say get these dates on your phones, on your calendar, and we all need to attend those, correct?
Yes, particularly if we're gonna be a membership.
I would say if any of you know of a person with younger kids that is interested or maybe looking for a way to get involved, this is a super easy, low-key way for them to get involved. That's how I sold it to Casey. So, because it is, it's a way to just get your feet wet in some of the district activities. So if any of you know of someone that's got young children that'll be in the district for a while, then we might capture those people for more than a year or so. So dig through your contacts and make a phone call if you can, so we get that filled.
We don't necessarily need a vote, I just need a consensus to approve that calendar. That calendar it can be a working document, because sometimes things change and we have to move meetings because maybe the legislature doesn't have a budget approved or something. So consensus is fine on that, as opposed to a vote, as long as I meet the publishing deadlines for input.
Okay. Is there anyone that has a problem with the dates on here? Then I believe that's a consensus. I don't hear any nays. And Budget Committee member, I have a letter, Dear Union School District. My name is Casey George. I am writing to express my interest in participating as a member of the school district's Budget Committee. I currently have one child enrolled in the district and another who will be joining soon. As a parent, I believe being part of this committee would provide an excellent opportunity to actively advocate for the needs of our students and contribute to the financial planning and development of the district. I would greatly appreciate your consideration of my request and am eager to contribute to the continued success of our schools. Thank you for your time and attention. Sincerely, Casey George.
I move we appoint her.
A second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, she is a member, and I'm guessing you will let her know that, Mindy. Okay, we are to the integrated plan presentation.
Did you guys print off the copies that look like this, or do you guys all have those in front of you?
No, but I'll cabbage off of Jocelyn.
Okay, and here are some definitions for you.
Robbie made some slides that the state gave us to help explain what in the world this is. And the definitions are actually pretty helpful because there's an acronym for everything.
So, some of these like everyday matters, career-centered learning, continuous improvement, planning, high school success, SIA student investment account. I may breeze through some of these tonight because I'm just so used to the acronyms now. So that's why Ronnie wanted you guys to have this. So if you turn your attention to the integrated application, this is something that's been in the works for quite some time. So it started out with high school success, then it went to continuous improvement planning, then it went to student investment account, and now we're at the integrated application, okay? So what I would like to do is turn your attention to page 11 on that plan. It's the plan summary. And so I'm gonna read this. I'll go quickly here. Stop me if you have any clarifying questions.
Could you just give us an overview of why this is an important piece?
This is how we get all of the funding through the student investment account. And so it started out with Measure 98 and Measure 99 and then went into high school success. And so without filling out these plans, there's hundreds.
There's probably close to $600,000 tied to this plan, and it all has an accountability standard. And so they won't give you the money if you don't set targets and growth measurements, and then there's a whole lot of reporting. And there's quarterly reports that go along with it to say what the progress markers are, how are you doing, are you seeing growth or change, do you need to change your plan? But it's $600,000, so it's a lot. And the budget is attached to the document that I sent out as well, explaining how we are spending that money.
So if you look at page 11, the outcomes and strategy of the plan have not significantly changed since we wrote our original integrated plan in the spring of 2023 and began implementing in the fall of 2024. And then added the Early Literacy Success Initiative a year ago. In a nutshell, our plan revolves around adding additional support for student success, a vision that was conceived in the very first iteration of the student investment account, in which we have been working on since, but which takes time to realize gains, particularly with the implementation or the interruption of the pandemic. These supports are multi-pronged, but boil down to reducing class size and doubling down on literacy professional development at the elementary school. Although not included in this plan, we also added a second interventionist with other funds. So that's like title funds and pulling out. We have a reading and a math intervention at the elementary school. At the secondary school, we have invested in CTE, including new bond-funded facilities, and focus on contextualized learning across the district. Our care coordinators making a dent in the barriers that plague most of our underserved students, which we see in the attendance of long-term growth targets of our focal group population. Also instrumental in our student success is our student success coach, who has been instrumental in rallying community support of students, stage, establishing extended learning opportunities through the Bobcat Den, and connecting with students and families early to put them on a path towards graduation, as evidenced by our 9th grade on track performance. However, we know our plan still needs time to work, and that many of our students have much to overcome. We like the progress we are seeing in our 4-year graduation and our 9th grade on track, long-range growth targets, but still have work to do in regular attendance and 3rd grade reading. As mentioned above, our elementary staff, both licensed and classified, have committed to professional learning and providing extended learning through our family engagement activities. We hope this momentum will contribute to more interest in summer school offerings for our early literacy learners, which has traditionally been hard to sell in our community. Last, our prior 2 years of 5-year completers maintained the lower achievement patterns of their 4-year cohorts. We're hopeful, based on our 9th grade on track rates, and those 2 classes were a fluke and not a trend. We will be watching these students carefully and plugging in the resources that this plan provides to support them in the next biennium. So our graduation rates had gone down, and partly because that was COVID. And we lost some kids to COVID. Like when you shut down schools, some kids just never came back. So anyway, and then as Mindy said, the budget is the next couple of pages that finalizes the document.
And on that budget, just very briefly, those dollars are going down, and I expect that to trend down even more next year. We're hearing from sources that even though the state is telling us tax revenues are up, the High School Success Act is in statute, but it's money dependent on things like lottery dollars and other dollars. That's going down a little bit, probably $10,000 to $15,000 a year since it started. This is not news. Eventually it will roll back around. But that high school success portion of that grant fund funds your second ag teacher in John Townsend. So that's what that is targeting. All of the goals and targets associated with that are in relation to that CTE. Then the non-school improvement fund, Student Success Act, I'm getting there. That funding is about $440,000 on that budget, if I'm remembering the number correctly. That is paying for a second elementary school PE teacher to meet those standards that are given to us. It pays for 1 elementary staff member. It is paying for our school resource officer, as well as our student success coach, and a little bit of the math component of geometry and construction, but the money has decreased enough that that's all that fits now. The other piece of that is the literacy grant, and that actually grew. It went from 40,000 to 64. And in part of setting those targets, we have chosen, we thought we could add one of our teachers and move that money because we're using an elementary school teacher to keep class size small so that those students can be have literacy and math and all the things. Well, then that was allowed for a couple of years and now it's not. So we've transferred an educational assistant salary into that as interventionist. So that's kind of how that money is being spent, as well as for things like new curriculum that Chris can come up with to implement, any professional development associated with that, any number of things. But it got big enough that we can support that one educational assistant through that program, as long as we are still meeting all the other criteria set forth in the targets.
So there's a lot to it, and so what we have to have is we have to have the board minutes saying that we presented this integrated plan to you and that you have taken action on it and approved it.
Questions for Carter or Mindy about the integrated plan? Do we have, I know it's early and I know things are in a state of chaos. Are we hearing anything about federal dollars or title funds? Are we concerned at all about?
Not concerned directly.
Okay.
Because what we're hearing about title dollars is that those are in a constitutional amendment, and so it would take the act of Congress to actually stop those title funds. So they're saying budget level funding. When we get those, could be the issue. Cash flow might become the issue. But in our school, title dollars are about $150,000 to $160,000. So not an astronomical amount of money in the scheme of things, and we do have 2 title teachers. So there's room for adjustment there should we find last minute that we had to. I feel like your budget, I just feel like I should knock on some wood. I think if we had to and those dollars got reduced or delayed significantly, we could soak that up for, like, if that happened mid-year. Title grants don't run on the same fiscal year we run on. They run October through September. And so if we found out in December, oh yeah, well, something's changed, we have in your contingency fund enough money to continue on through 1 year of school without making those adjustments. So I feel confident about that. As far as some of the other IDEA dollars, which support students with special needs, those dollars have not, no one has said anything about those. But also, those are only $65,000 to $70,000. So directly, I'd be way more concerned if they ever started talking about the school lunch program, because those are all federal dollars, pretty much.
And that's all FDA stuff.
And so far, radio silence about that.
Okay.
So.
Okay, I guess that's good news. All right. Cool, well, thank you for keeping up on that. I know it's probably an ongoing process, so thank you for your
It's a moving
diligence.
target.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Do we need to just say we've heard the integrated plan, or does it just need to be in the minutes?
It needs to be in the minutes. We're required and have to have all of these documents and artifacts and different things. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Anyone out there want to know what the world we're talking about? Because we do need some input. Yes.
I'm just kind of curious about the career awareness, exploration, preparation, and training. When in the school day or what class would that happen?
So there's a lot of career, I think when you look at our CTE program and you look at the different classes that we offer, there's a ton that goes on in the agriculture program from that presentation that you saw there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there is our classes of wood wood shop and welding and construction and
Yeah.
those kinds of classes. But we also have a dedicated class that's a year-long class that is for career exploration,
Hallelujah, what grade is that?
freshman.
Ninth grade gets that? Okay.
Ninth grade gets that, and then our seniors take a personal finance class.
Oh, good.
And that's, that, not necessarily career related, more as like,
Yeah.
you're learning about interest rates and all of those
That's one
things.
of the questions I had when I came in here tonight, is that at some point, kids learn how to deal with money.
Yep, and that's, they do that their senior year.
Yeah, is that like a semester?
It's full year. Both
what about-
classes are full year
What
long.
about government?
That's a social studies class.
Oh,
And
okay.
so that is taught, we call it civics,
Yeah.
and then economics is the other side of that.
Okay, so they're gonna learn about, something about the Constitution?
That would be in US history, and that's a junior year class.
Okay, because they're gonna learn about what democracy is, what
Yep.
oligarchy is, what
Yep.
all that fucking stuff is, okay. All right, and another question I had, I'm just kind of real curious about what all they're gonna get for the variety of future options that they have. Above and beyond, the regular, my granddaughter's in robotics, she loves it.
Yeah.
But, there's just such a, do they get any information on service, like like the military, different
Yep.
options in the
We
military?
have recruiters come in
They come in?
Yep, all the time.
Okay, good. Do anybody talk about the Peace Corps, stuff like that?
That isn't as much mentioned, and unless when you fill out your interests, so you
Okay.
fill out this whole big survey on your interests, and then your interests kind of align you with jobs that
Okay,
line up with your interests, and so if somebody had, put something in there, the Peace Corps may come up.
okay. So they're gonna have some kind of a vocational aptitude, do they take the ASVAB?
Yes, they do. Juniors take the ASVAB.
So they don't have to, but they can?
We offer it and we ask them to take it. We have very few kids opt out. We have much more opting out of state testing than the ASVAB.
Yeah, the ASVAB, that's a good one to take.
Yeah.
Okay, and they get feedback on that, and then they
Yeah.
can maybe tie that in with the military people who show up?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, that's good. I just had one other thing I was kind of curious about. Have you guys had any push on the, problems with books in the library, people coming in and complaining about books or anything? We had-
Zero.
Hallelujah. Good, I was just wondering about that. Okay.
Thank you for
How'd we do?
your questions.
That's pretty good. I had my little list here.
Okay.
Yeah, good for you.
Censure new library books, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, future options. Because, when I was in school, nobody ever talked to me about what I wanted to do. School counselors were more involved in the tests, maybe help me sign up for college or whatever. Nobody ever asked me what I wanted to do.
And this school is very different. There are, we know probably too much about kids. And so, I would say, kids in Union High School specifically are not numbers.
Yeah.
They're names, they're people, and,
Yeah.
they have personality. And our staff does a good job of connecting with them.
Yeah, I went to a real big school, so it's quite a different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I still don't know what I want to do.
I'd invite you back to May's meeting when Carter's gonna present the master's schedule, and then you'll be able to see what's available for all of our kids.
I like to come back. I like to come to these once in a while.
We enjoy having you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
All right, we have addressed the integrated plan presentation, and it sounds like we've gotten questions taken care of for that. Number 6 is policy items, second reading on GCAA. Oh, do we need a motion?
We need, yes. We
Okay.
need a motion on the integrated plan.
To approve it?
Yes.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the integrated plan for 25-27.
I so move.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, now we are moving on to number 6, policy item, second reading, GCAA, Standards for Competent and Ethical Performance of Oregon Educators. It's one we addressed, I believe, in February for the first reading.
I believe so. And the only choice is that do you want the application of rules or not? And I would suggest you want the application of rules. That's the first section, the first 1 through 4, A and B.
I say we go with Carter's recommendation on that, since he's the one that has to adhere to it and administer. Are there other suggestions within that? All right. So after the second reading, then next meeting, we adopt. Is that where we're at?
It is my understanding that you could adopt after a second reading.
Yes,
Oh,
that's what Rick told us.
is there any discussion or questions on the standards for competent and ethical performance of Oregon educators? If not, I would suggest perhaps a motion that we adopt.
I make a motion to adopt the standards for competent and ethical performance for Oregon educators.
I can second it.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. And then B on that is the adoption of the policy manual as edited at November work session through January 25. Policies were amended and re-edited, and that was after our full day training. And then Mindy sent it in. The gentleman looked at it, sent back his revisions. We looked at it again, but we're to the point now where we need to say, yes, we're happy with it. Print it. Put it on the website.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve that the adoption of the new policy manual as edited?
Yeah, sure. I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, it is adopted, ready to go on the website. Okay, information and discussion items. We've had some discussion off and on about the superintendent evaluation format. Carter let me know that this was the evaluation format that he was given when he stepped in as superintendent, so it's the same one we've been using. It is very similar to those used throughout the region. I guess my question is, are there questions that as you've gone through and you're evaluating Carter using this rubric, are there areas that you feel like you're not prepared to answer? If so, is there something else we can do to gain information throughout the year so that when we get that, we feel better? I don't know how any of the rest of you feel. There are places on there where I put IDK, there are just things that I don't know about. Maybe it's just because I'm relatively new. Mark, are there things on there that?
Well, there's a bunch of things on there that, and it's not the best in the West. But it does give us an opportunity to discuss those various things.
Mhm.
The thing that I just become aware of, and my own fault, we haven't really been doing this right.
Mhm.
They suggest that after you fill out that form, then we meet as a group and discuss how we feel and what we do, and then we make fill out the other form that we give to Carter. That way we have our internal discussion, and then we're come as a united front to talk to him about things. And I think we should do that. You know, it needs another meeting, but, you know, it's one of the things we're supposed to do.
Right.
Hire and fire the superintendent. and
Right,
that's-
it's one of our major tasks.
Yeah,
I think it would certainly be helpful to have a collaborative session talking about that, and then maybe we would also have differences of what we know, and we'd be able to weigh in on some additional evidence.
and, you know, and as far as gathering information, it's kind of a fine line, whether it would be busybody, micromanager, get into Carter's back pocket, or ask people to squeal on him. But it's semi-necessary. I can understand that, you know, it's our task and we should try and do a good job of it. As a whole, I think we do. Like I said, the only thing I would suggest is that we do meet one more time.
Okay.
And I don't know if we'll do this, it doesn't make a difference for this year, but you know, we could start early in the year. We could start in January and then have our meeting and stuff and be ready for our March meeting then.
I know we previously discussed maybe giving the staff a survey as well to have additional input. I mean, I don't think that's a terrible idea. It just gives us a little bit more to base our decisions off of. I kind of like that idea. I don't have like a sample of what that would look like, but yeah, I think Macy kind of made it sound like she was familiar with how to whip something like that up, but.
I'm not 100% for that. I would like to get staff input, but it's, I don't like to ask the staff to evaluate Carter. I would like for the staff, if they had input, to be able to come to us and tell us, having send out a form that every staff member fills out. I don't know, I don't like the taste of that.
Okay. Deb, what are your thoughts on, as you go through the evaluation form, are there places in there where you feel like you need additional information? Okay.
Definitely.
In my opinion, obviously, I put IDK on several, not a ton of them actually, but in several of those areas. And I would think there are a number of ways we could get that information. Maybe some of it is through a simple staff survey on the pieces where it's talking directly about staff. But I think also, like tonight where we had the FFA presentation, where we have people coming in and giving us information, or maybe, and we've asked Carter this year to present the goals. We've added some information kinds of things, maybe as a board. We need to get better at asking for what we need for information to fill in the gaps that we don't have on that evaluative tool. Carter, this is obviously affecting you.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts as you're listening to the go around here? Do you have suggestions that you would like to see added? Would you like to see us stay away from some things? Where are you at?
I think first of all, I would say I always want to, I want to get better, right? Like every day you want to get better, a little bit better. And I'm not going to, if I don't get any feedback about how to improve my performance, then, then I don't have any direction. But I do feel like through the evaluative tool, I do get some direction from you guys, from some of the things that you see, because indirectly people are talking to you. And, if I'm doing something way out of left field, I'm sure people are going to come talk to you about it. And I think there's some fine lines with the survey piece, because if it's anonymous, then, like I can't really address the issue. I don't know who to address it with. And so that's, but then some people, when it's not anonymous, they probably might not share their true feelings. So maybe I'm not helping here, but what I'm saying is like there's pros and cons to either way you look at it. I want to get better. I want to be the best possible superintendent I can be. And, I appreciate the feedback I do get from you guys. So I'm not exactly, I'm kind of like right on the middle of the fence with it. I do appreciate the feedback I do get. I do walk out of that meeting every year with, hey, these are some things I can do to get better. These are some things that the board has advised me that are ways for me to improve. And that's valuable. But then also there's value in like, hey, you're doing this well, and this is good. And that makes me feel like I'm a positive member of this team. And so I think that's how I feel about it. I don't know if I helped any.
But it was good to hear from you.
It does directly affect you, so it's
Yeah.
good to have an opinion about it. Has the district ever done any kind of a simple step survey?
Once upon a time, prior to Carter.
Oh, okay, so a long time ago.
And it was that very uncomfortable. There are things about your supervisor that you might be willing to evaluate in that giving input. I see this, I see that, but I was a participant in that at that time, and I wrote yes, no, yes, no. It was weird. I think it was one of Mike's first few years. So it is difficult when your name is on a document to say, hey, I would really like to see more of this, or I need more support in this area. Because by saying, I need more support in this area, you're saying a failure of someone who's supervising you, and you fail every day. We all do. It was weird. It was difficult. But at the same time, as you get older in your career, you're a little more brave. But theoretically, you've already had that discussion with your supervisor, right? When you have concerns, you pull up your big kid pants and you go and you sit down and you talk about things as adults and you address them first. Then if you don't get action, that's where that evaluative tool might come in handy for you to have more insight. But if it's general information like, generally, are we supporting new staff? Are we, what are some examples of ways new staff are reported? It depends on the question. Because if the question is, does Carterville support new staff? Well, I don't know, I'm not new staff. But if you said, what are some of the tools that are put in place to help support new staff? Then I might say, there's a check-in once a month, or there's, I've seen this new staff member call and ask for information. Like that a survey isn't a bad thing, but I wouldn't always answer the question. It would depend on how you wrote the question.
Mm-hmm. Feelings, I'll just hand this out. This is, just take one and pass her on around here. Macy's talked about SurveyMonkey, and I know, Mark, you probably have not experienced a SurveyMonkey, so I dug through my stuff, and there's, just take, one, that's an example. So I'll explain what this is.
You can start out by saying, what the hell is a monkey?
Yeah, so I knew you had questions about that before, so I'll show you, this will show you what a SurveyMonkey is, or what information could possibly come from it. So it's just two handouts. It's just the first page of the superintendent evaluative tool, and then the example of the SurveyMonkey. So The first thing I handed out was standard 1, leadership and district culture. It's just the first page of our superintendent evaluation. And so what I did when I was going through it, I just wrote IDK by the things that I was going, I don't know, I don't have information, I feel like, to answer that question appropriately, just as I was going through. So I don't know, maybe that's a place to start, that we each go back through the original tool and say, what are the things that I'd like more information on, or I feel like I need more information on, that we could go on, and then maybe we figure out what that information looks like, whether it's a staff survey or whether it's just asking administration to give us more information about specific things. So what I did was, so the Survey Monkey, what all the Survey Monkey is, you'll see there's a question, and then the people taking the survey, it can be anonymous or not anonymous, however you set the thing up, but it gives you categories. So it gives you the question, and it says, my principal has provided staff a clear focus for the goals and expectations for this school year. And then they poke the button that they agree with on it, and then what the recipient is. So when I got this back, then I could look through it and go, okay, well, the majority of people think I'm moving in the right direction. So that information for me was like, okay, I'm doing well there. And then there'd be other questions that would be closer to the bottom, and I could look at it and go, okay, they're saying you don't work as well with people, you probably need to work on your people skills. So then I could take that and go, okay, this is where I would go. So this is an example of what a Survey Monkey would look. It's just a form of a survey that's done online. If you were to, on the front, on that standard sheet, you'll see I wrote some possible ways to get information to use a survey on. Down here at the bottom, it says my superintendent has demonstrated through leadership that he has high expectations for student learning and activities. So that I just turned around some of the things up in the top that I said, well, I don't really know. What would staff say on that in this format? That's a possibility. That's how Survey Monkeys work. So we have gotten a slow start. We had some other business to take care of February and March. So that was when we had kind of talked about moving towards and doing some of this work. We do need to do it as a group. It's not something we can assign to someone. It needs to be taken care of in an open session. So just like I say, just to give you some idea of what a survey could possibly look like and how it could be used by that person. Like I say, I think there are other ways. I don't think my personal opinion is I don't think a staff survey would solve all of our issues. I mean, it might give us a small amount of feedback. We talked about having a short one just on the things that we thought pertain to how staff were feeling. I mean, that may be a reasonable expectation. I don't know that we have time to get one ready for May. Honestly, we've had a busy couple of months, and so we've had to table some of these things. Food for thought as we continue this conversation. We're going to evaluate with what we've been using, and I think the tool it's a reasonable tool. Like I say, it's being used regionally by the majority of districts in one form or another. Some districts use surveys, staff surveys, some don't.
We should work on it more like this summer when we're not strapped for
Time and maybe something to look at in June, but
hopefully nothing.
What do you think about taking the blank tool and looking through it and making comments on where you feel like you would need more information, and then maybe talking about how do we get that information? How do we educate ourselves? How do we learn about those things that we need to know to do a fair and honest, effective evaluation?
You want my thought?
Go for it.
My thought is if you're in the dark about something, you get off your dead hind end and you go to school and you corner somebody and you say, what's going on here?
Okay.
Rather than a bunch of administrative stuff to fill out and poke the buttons and stuff like that. You know, eyeball, good, bad, or indifferent is what I believe the best way to get information.
Okay. Nick, where are you at with this? I'm hearing you say leave it. Add your piece that you want to add, but don't add
I think,
extra
right, and I think
information.
we've really been dropping the ball by not
Okay.
coming together on this, yeah.
Okay. Nick?
Well, I don't think I'm as in favor for the monkey survey.
Okay, now that you've seen it, okay, but
Right,
that's why I
mean,
wanted to
kind
bring
of
it.
agree that it's probably not gonna give us as much information as we would like to help us out, so it might be kind of just a waste of time, kind of. I like the idea of sitting down and having a discussion. I also like the idea of taking just a blank form and jotting some notes down on and trying to figure out.
Fill that in.
Yeah, how we might
Okay.
be able to get that.
Okay. Deb, what about you?
I feel that way too. You could just poke it online and it doesn't mean anything,
Okay.
I think sitting down and going over things.
Okay.
But, and you know, after we sit down, maybe you could look at one area that don't know about, you could look at another, and then we could come back and say, Carter really fouled up there. Or
We
we
did a
say,
great job.
boy, howdy, look what he did over here.
Okay.
And if I can figure out how to get this saran wrap off.
He's eating some cookies. Okay, am I hearing that if we could get a blank copy of the evaluation tool, that each takes some time to look through it and make some notes on what we would feel better about learning more about, and then address that perhaps maybe in June? Okay.
There's something like that.
Okay, so Mindy, could you possibly get us blank copies of that? Oh, could you get us blank copies of that evaluation tool? And we will each take some time to look through it, make some notes, and then plan to have some discussion in June where hopefully we're not as overloaded. Or maybe we have just a short work session, open work session, where we just go through and have this collaborative conversation about how to get the information we need. Okay, so moving forward, did you get all that blab in your minutes or close enough?
I'm very close.
Okay, Carter's gonna get us the blank tool, we'll make notes.
Got it.
We'll have some kind of a discussion, it'll be in the June agenda. Okay. All right. Just some information. Megan Sophie, one of our third grade teachers, was named Union County Chamber Educator of the Year this year and got a nice award for that. I just wanted to recognize her and let you all know that we've got a rock star in our midst. Liberty 8 Albers.
Excuse me, she's homegrown too.
Nice. She's a great mentor teacher. She's on my caseload for the student teachers. Liberty Albers is a student, and I was also reading she won an Excellence in Art Award. And now I didn't write down where that was from, but it was a fairly good-sized award, and it was in the paper, or
Was it the EOU art exhibit?
It may have been the EOU art exhibit. Yeah, anyway, one of our students. So congratulations to her. And I just wanted to see that that was in our minutes and publicly recognized. High school forecasting and scheduling model. Do you want to say more about that?
I talked more about this earlier, excuse me. And I will have more for you at next month's meeting. And it's too much in the infancy stage right now. I need to get it vetted. I need to make sure it's solid before I present it.
Okay, so we'll put that down in future agenda items. And give us an update on hiring.
We are interviewing 5 candidates tomorrow for the English position. If any of you board members would like to be there, you're welcome to be.
Did you get rain now?
Deb volunteered.
Okay,
So
I don't know if I
she'll be
did.
our representative.
I can come tomorrow.
It starts tomorrow. Be there, you can be there anytime after 8 o'clock, and you have about an hour to read through all the applications. It's all set up on the desk. We will go into the classroom first. They will do a 15-minute mini lesson on sentence structure. And then after that, we will go into the office and do the traditional ask the questions around the table. It's second period, third period, fifth, sixth, and seventh period. So those are that, and then, and then we interview tomorrow night for the cross-country coach. After all these interviews, James has set all that one up. And then the math and the science social studies position, I'm hopeful to get that set up for next week. If not, it'll be the week after that. So I have applicants for that. This English job, I had so many applicants, and it was so hard to try to say, well, you're not, and I've had lots of people come, highly recommended. And when you read through the applications, you'll be impressed.
Wow.
So, yeah, so that's exciting. So you'll be there tomorrow? Perfect. I appreciate that. And we'll have a teacher on that panel. We have a classified employee on that panel. I'm on that panel, and then Rondi will be on it as well. So.
Okay. Do we have a board rep on the cross country? Or one of you on the cross country?
Yeah, I don't know. You might get a full day of interviews tomorrow.
You're going to be there anyway.
I did do football, so I did my volunteer on that. And then we've got just the one new position.
Yep, in the math position.
And the math, we did get a letter of resignation.
We have not received the letter yet.
Okay, but she's given you notice that.
Correct.
Okay.
And I
And
told
do we have candidates?
Yep, I have 2 candidates for that job, and I have 2 candidates for the other job.
Sweet, okay, very nice.
And what was the other job?
Halftime science, halftime social studies, so we can reduce the class size, or split essentially the grade levels of 7th grade, 8th grade, and 9th grade in both science and in social studies.
There are people that are dually qualified.
So typically what they have is they have one or the other, and then they just go take the test for the other one. And because they've already done the teacher prep program, they already have all the teacher prep stuff. All they have to do is pass. It's now called the Orella, sorry. It was the praxis when I went through school. And you basically, you just take the test. They don't allow you, so long ago, when I got my licensure, you used to be able to take the
MSAT.
Was it that? Yeah, the multiple subjects area test, and then you could teach. So like my license, I can teach anything in like the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade or something like that. I can't remember what it anyway. But they don't allow you to do that anymore. So you have to have the
area. All right, cool. Do we know, Chris, about incoming kindergarten? Do we know what we're looking at for numbers? Will we need 2?
I think we officially have 12 signed up right now. But it's pretty early.
Okay. Roundup is end of May?
We have
August.
May 14th, the Head Start kids are coming over. We have not officially set up a roundup yet. Because we advertised for kindergarten parents to come to conferences to meet and greet and get registration packets. So that was an attempt to try to do that.
And that's where we got the 12.
Correct.
Okay.
And from our own seeking, just knowing families.
Intel.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe you're.
And so, I mean, I think if we know of 12, I'm hoping that we get to that 20 mark.
Okay.
I think adding 8 more is probably reasonable from my experience. Carter and I have had that discussion.
Okay.
I'm always a little apprehensive because it's low now, but we live in a world where we tend to put things off until we need it.
Okay. All right, I was just curious how that was gonna bump up through.
I do have a plan in case there's not enough to justify 2 teachers.
Okay.
It's an idea at this point, and then we'll put it into action if we need to.
All right, excellent. Way to be prepared. We have future agenda items, superintendent goals, which after we do our evaluation, and then district goals that come out of this integrated application. So we'll have those conversations down the road. But just so that we all know they're coming.
And I agree with what Deb said, is the summertime is a good time to kind of talk about those things. That's a good time to make some adjustments. And typically, there isn't a lot of stuff on the agendas in July and August.
Okay. So at this point, we are going to head into executive session, ORS 192.660, parentheses, I, to review and evaluate the employment-related performance of the chief executive officer of any public body, public officer, employee, or staff member who does not request an open hearing. And so.
Do you expect any action after the meeting?
We will act to either approve